whatever it is. Right, Mataji?
Yeah, yes.
It's only reading, right? Should be fine. Okay. My system is not loading. Can you start it off, Mataji, the reading?
Prabhu, which was Prabhu? I'm reading from my phone. Don't have the book.
So she read Hastinapur, and then Krishna. There we need to read from the pot of separation. The verse, that translation that says, everyone is in the pot of separation. That one. I think it's around. Were you able to find it, Madhu? Let me find it. Otherwise, 1 second.
I'm just checking, Prabhu. One second. It's 13, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sarve te nimishairakshais tam anudruta chetasaha vikshanta sneha sambandha vichelustatra tatraha. All their hearts were melting for him on the pot of attraction. They looked at him without blinking their eyes, and they moved hither and thither in perplexity. Purport. Krishna is naturally attractive for all living beings because he is the chief eternal amongst all eternals. He alone is the maintainer of the many eternals. This is stated in the Katha Upanishad. And thus, one can obtain permanent peace and prosperity by revival of one's eternal relation with him, now forgotten under the spell of Maya, the illusory energy of the Lord. Once this relation is slightly revived, the conditioned soul at once becomes freed from the illusion of material energy and becomes mad after the association of the Lord. This association is made possible not only by personal contact with the Lord, but also by association with his name, fame, form, and quality. Srimad Bhagavatam trains the conditioned soul to this stage of perfection by submissive hearing from the pure devotee. 14. Nyarundham udgalad bhashpam autkantya devaki sute niryati agaran no bhadram iti syad bhandavastriyaha. The female relatives, whose eyes were flooded with tears out of anxiety for Krishna, came out of the palace. They couldn't stop their tears. They could stop their tears only with great difficulty. They feared that tears would cause misfortune at the time of departure. There were hundreds of ladies in the palace of Hastinapura. All of them were affectionate to Krishna. All of them were relatives also. When they saw that Krishna was going away from the palace for his native place, they were very anxious for him. And as usual, tears began to roll down their cheeks. They thought at the same time that tears at that moment might be a cause of misfortune for Krishna. Therefore, they wanted to check them. This was very difficult for them because the tears could not be checked. Therefore, they smeared their tears in their eyes and their hearts throbbed. Therefore, ladies who were the wives and daughters-in-law of those who died in the battlefield never came in direct contact with Krishna, but all of them heard of him and his great activities, and thus they thought of him, talked of him, his name, fame, etc., and became affectionate also, like those who were in direct contact. Therefore, directly or indirectly, anyone who thinks of Krishna, talks of Krishna, or worships Krishna becomes attached to him. Because Krishna is absolute, there is no difference between his name, form, quality, etc. Our intimate relation with Krishna can be confidentially revived by our talking of, hearing of, or remembering him. It is so done due to spiritual potency.
It was so nice, no? In the previous verse, Prabhupada is telling, even if the relation is slightly revived,
I was thinking of the same, Prabhu. Yeah.
Will become mad, not just get attracted, mad after the association of the Lord.
Yeah, and I was thinking, even if it is slightly revived, you can come out of the illusory energy of the Lord. So that is which is the Lord, right? Being under the spell of illusion, thinking this happened to me, that happened to me, so much of so much of anxiety, so much of so much of identity with matter, so much so many false identities, being caught up in those false identities. Knowing this
Much
also, it's
pain it is.
yeah, knowing this also, it's unable to get out of it. But
Yeah.
the hope, see, once this relation is slightly revived, this the conditioned soul at once becomes freed from the illusion of material energy. What can we do to become freed from illusion energy? Just this relation has to be slightly revived. It's not fully revived also, slightly. Prabhupada is giving so much of hope and becomes mad after the association of the Lord. And he's stressing the importance of Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam trains the conditioned soul to this state of perfection by submissive hearing from the pure devotee.
Submissive hearing.
Yeah, even by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we're associating, and that's the hope.
It is possible.
It is possible. And this verse is also, it's expanding the 50 and the 14th one. There is these wives and daughters-in-law of those who have died in the battlefield, they have never, they like Pandavas, they didn't have direct association. Draupadi or some Subhadra, so much association with Krishna, but this other the wives of Kauravas, they don't have any association with him, direct association. By hearing, see, they were all killed and it's orchestrated by Krishna. Still, they have so much of affection for Krishna.
So much affection for him.
Like those who were in direct contact, it's specifically written, like those, if you're in direct contact, it's easy to build up the relationship. But just like Rukmini, who heard about Krishna, of course, you can say that she's the goddess of fortune. Still, these ladies were no
principle works.
Yeah, the same principle, yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Next one.
Okay. Let me read 15, 16, and then Lalita Mataji can take turn. Okay. Mridanga Sanka Beryascha Veena Panava Gomuka Dunduri Anaka Gantadya Nedu Dundubhyastata. While the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastinapura, different tribes of drums like the Mridanga, Dola, Nagra, Dunduri, and Dundivi, and flutes of different types, the Veena, Gomuka, and Beri, all sounded together to show him honor. To show him honor, they're playing everything. Prasada Sikara Ruda Kuru Naryo Didrikshaya Vavrusu Kushumai Krishnam Prema Vrida Smitekshanaha. Smitekshanaha. Out of loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on top of the palace, and smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Nice, no? They were all showering flowers from the palaces, top of the palaces on the Lord. Shyness is a particular extra natural beauty of the fair sex, and it commands respect from the opposite sex. This custom was observed even during the days of Mahabharata, that is more than 5,000 years ago. It's only the less intelligent persons, not well versed in the history of the world, who say that observance of separation from male, of separation of female from male, is an introduction of Mohammedan period in India. This incident from Mahabharata period proves definitely that the ladies of the palace observe strict parda, restricted association with men. And instead of coming down in the open air where Lord Krishna and others were assembled, the ladies of the palace went upon the top of the palace, and from there paid their respects to Lord Krishna by showers of flowers. It is definitely stated here that the ladies were smiling there on top of the palace, checked by shyness. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex. Hi, ball. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex. Today's Women's Day, by the way. Congratulations and happy Women's Day to the ladies in the call and whoever is going to hear the recording. It enhances their beauty and prestige, even if they are of less important family or even if they are less attractive. Wow, what a glorification, no? We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respectable gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half naked ladies in the street do not command any respect, but a shy sweeper's wife commands respect from all. So, human civilization, as conceived by the sages of India, is to help one free himself from the clutches of illusion. So, the material beauty of a woman is an illusion because actually the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, etc. But because there is association of the living spark with matter, it appears to be beautiful. No one is attracted by an earthen doll, even if it is most perfectly prepared to attract the attention of others. The dead body has no beauty because no one will accept the dead body of a so-called beautiful woman. Therefore, the conclusion is that the spirit spark is beautiful. And because of the soul's beauty, one is attracted by the beauty of the outward body. The Vedic wisdom therefore forbids us to be attracted by false beauty. But because we are now in the darkness of ignorance, the Vedic civilization allows very restricted mixing of woman and man. So that's the reason. But because we are now in the darkness of ignorance, the Vedic civilization allows very restricted mixing of woman and man. They say that the woman is considered to be fire and man is considered to be butter. The butter must melt in association with fire. Therefore, they must be brought together only when it is necessary. And shyness is a check to the unrestricted mixing. It's a nature's gift and it must be utilized. Isn't it a nice? I mean, I'm just thinking Krishna is presenting this situation. Today's the day, right? Women's Day? Yeah, today's the day.
I think
And
so.
I think so. I also think so. I mean, I think, right, Lalita Mataji, today's the day? Maybe also don't know. Okay, it's so nice. You know? Krishna is glorifying women. And it's very nice purport. The beauty is actually of the soul. But the thing is, the illusion takes it to the body. And then, ignorance and ignorance mixes is not good. But in a proper sense, it is great. It is a nature's gift and it must be utilized. Okay. Lalita Mataji, you're ready to read? Okay, I will read. Okay, 17. Sitatapatram jagraha. Yeah, go ahead, Mata.
Siddhartapatram jagraha muktada mavibhushitam ratnadandam gudakeshaha priyaha priyata masyaha. Translation. At that time, Arjuna, the great warrior and conqueror of sleep, who is the intimate friend of the most beloved Supreme Lord, took up an umbrella which had a handle of jewels and was embroidered with lace and pearls. Purport. Gold, jewels, pearls, and valuable stones were used in the luxurious royal ceremonies. They are all nature's gifts and are produced by the hills, oceans, etc. by the order of the Lord. When man does not waste his valuable time in producing unwanted things in the name of necessities, by so-called development of industrial enterprises, they are now using parts of Gutta
Gutta Percha.
instead of metals like gold, silver, brass, and copper. They are using margarine instead of purified water, and 1/4 of the city population has no shelter.
So people
Text.
say we are advanced, but the thing is, the quality of life and quality of living is also much reduced.
Yes.
Hmm.
Text 18. Uddhavaha satya kischaiva vyajane paramadbhute vikirya manaha kusumai reje madhupatihi padhi. Translation. Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with the decorated fans, and the Lord, as the master of Madhu, seated on scattered flowers, commanded them along the road. Text 19. Ashru enta shishaha satya statra tatra dvijeritaha nanu rupa anu रूपानु रूप रूपश्च रूपाश्च निर्गुणस्य गुणात्मनः. Translation. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. Purport. At places there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being as if a cousin of Maharaja Yudhishthira, but they were also unfitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material
Relativities.
relativities. He is nirguna, or there are no material qualities in him, but he is full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory, whereas in the relative world, everything has its opposite. In the relative world, white is the opposite conception of black, but in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. Therefore,
Hmm.
the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned Brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. But when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Sri Krishna is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous among his pure devotees as Makhan Chora. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavana in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and is never praised. Since he is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him, and still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Hmm. Such a nice example, no?
Yes.
You understood the flow. That's what happening, Mataji, here. You want to say something at this point?
Oh, yes, Prabhuji. And in the normal world, the white and black both are opposite conception, while in the transcendental world, white and black both are there is no distinction.
Hmm.
And it was said like, what's this sentence, Prabhuji? Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned Brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in the relation with the absolute person, but when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. Krishna's logic I understood, and this absolute person, when they applied to the absolute person.
So
Uh,
basically, what's happening here is Krishna is leaving, and everyone is going through a lot of tension, or like, yeah, we can say tension. And the Brahmanas in the community, they were like, offering a lot of benedictions. May you be safe, may you go well, may, you like that, right? Uh, because because the idea is that everyone is just hooked to Krishna. Yesterday also you were sharing, right? Krishna was such conducting himself such nicely, so much so he even was going and offering obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Although he is a personality of Godhead. So similarly, Brahmanas were so inspired, they are offering blessings to him. So then the contradiction is, if someone is God or a great person, do you think they need the blessings? They don't need. So that's a contradiction there, right? They're not befitting. They're not needed. You cannot go to God and say, "May you be safe." It looks contradictory, but because it's it is offered out of affection and proper purpose, it is not contrary. It's exchange of love or exchange of affection. It's not contradictory. And Prabhupada is very nicely giving an example. No contradiction will work with absolute truth. I really like this example. Krishna is famous as a thief, but everyone worships him as a thief. In our mundane world, it's a contradictory. If someone is a thief, we don't worship them, right? Is it making any connection?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Harikata Mata, you want to go next? Couple verses?
Yes, Prabhu.
This is a nice verse, text 20. That's what I was sharing yesterday.
अन्योन्यमासीत् सञ्जल्प उत्तमश्लोकचेतसां कौरवेन्द्रपुरस्त्रीणां सर्वश्रुतिमनोहरः. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapura began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in all the Vedic literatures, the goal is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Factually, the glories of the Lord are depicted in such literature as the Vedas, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. And in the Bhagavatam, they're specifically mentioned in respect to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the tops of the houses in the capital of the kings of the Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. Anything sung in the praise of the Lord is Shruti Mantra. There are songs of Thakur Narottam Dasa, one of the acharyas in the Gaudi Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakur Vishnu Chakravarti, another very learned acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakur Narottam Dasa to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies, who were all absorbed in thoughts and actions of the Lord, developed the consciousness of Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been very learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still, whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishads are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord, but the talks of the ladies were directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talks appeared to be more valuable than the learned Brahmana's benedictions.
I'm just thinking, Prabhupada was telling, therefore, while the ladies on the tops of houses in the capital of kings of Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talks were more pleasing. How does it connect to the previous sentence?
Previously, it's talking about Brahmanas. Prabhupada already quoted it in this verse also at the end, right, Prabhu? Brahmanas predicted him. Okay, that's the previous before verse, right? This and last verse it's talking about the all contradictions end in him. It's befitting in and it's not befitting in another sense.
He is calling you.
Fitting offering in the sense that they're offering benedictions to Krishna because playing the part of the one way he's playing the part of the cousin. He's just like a normal king. He's acting, not he's acting. In that way, a Brahmana offering benedictions to a Kshatriya is befitting, although it's not in the sense he's the supreme lord who can bless God or give something to God, give some benedictions. He's the one, even to the Brahmana community, he's the one, he's the Namo Brahmanya Devaya, right? He's the offering blessings to the Brahmana community. Here it is telling even the so-called the benedictions which are given to the Brahmanas by the Lord, they are not befitting in they are these ladies talks are more better than the Lord, better than that, because they're talking about directly the glories of the Lord. And Prabhupada is talking about Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur mentioning Narottam Das Thakur songs. They're simple Bengali.
Okay, no issues, Mataji. That's good. I think you got busy. I will read the next one. So from now, ladies were glorifying Krishna. This is their glories until goes until 30, next 10 verses. So their glorification goes as Savai Kilayam Purusha Puratano Yayek Asid Avisesha Atmani Agre Gunobhyo Jagadatmanishware Nimilitatman Nisisu Saktishu. They said, here is the original personality of Godhead, as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and in him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. Purport. There are two types of dissolution of the manifested cosmos. At the end of every 4,320,000,4.32 billion years, solar years, when Brahma, the Lord of one particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. And the end of Brahma's life, which takes place at the end of Brahma's 100 years of age, in our calculation, at the end of 8.64 billion into 30 multiplied by 12 multiplied 100 solar years, there's a complete annihilation of the entire universe. And in both periods, both the material energy called the Mahatattva and the marginal energy called Jivatattva merge in the person of the Supreme Lord. The living beings remain asleep within the body of the Lord until there is another creation of the material world. And that is a way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material manifestation. So the material creation is affected by the interaction of three modes of material nature set in action by the Lord. And therefore it is said here that the Lord existed before the modes of material nature was set in motion. In the Shruti mantra, it is said that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before the creation, and there was no Brahma, Shiva, or other demigods. So Vishnu means Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean. By his breathing only, the universes are generated in seeds and gradually develop into gigantic forms within the innumerable planets within each and every universe. The seeds of the universes develop into gigantic forms in the way seeds of banyan tree develops into numberless banyan trees. So the first paragraph is about two types of dissolutions, and everything goes back to Supreme Lord. And the second paragraph is about how Krishna is there even before the material modes are set into motion, and how the creation came out is, from the body of Vishnu, the seeds of universes come and they develop into big, gigantic forms like the banyan trees. So this Mahavishnu is the plenary portion of Lord Shri Krishna, who is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Brahma Samhita 548 as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead Govinda, whose plenary portion is a Mahavishnu. All the Brahmas, the heads of the universes, live only for the period of his exhaling after the universes are generated from the pores of his transcendental body. Thus, Govinda, or Lord Krishna, is the cause of Mahavishnu also. So the ladies talking about this Vedic truth must have heard it from the authoritative sources. An authoritative source is the only means of knowing about the transcendent subject matter, definitely. There is no alternative. So whatever the ladies are talking, these ladies, they were talking the uh, talking high subjects, and that high subject they were able to get to the high subjects only because of hearing from authorities. So the merging of the living beings into the body of Mahavishnu takes place automatically at the end of Brahma's 100 years. But that doesn't mean that the individual living being loses his identity. The identity is there. And as soon as there is another creation by the supreme will of the Lord, all the sleeping, inactive living beings are again let loose to begin their activities in the continuation of past different spheres of life. It is called Suptotita Nyaya, or awakening from sleep and again engaging in one's respective continuous duty. Wow, one's respective continuous duty. So we're keeping on doing the same things day after day. I mean, the same way we are doing now. We get up, eat, and go to work, and come back and sleep, and come. It looks like birth after birth. It's engagement going on. So when a man is asleep at night, he forgets himself, what he is, what his duty is, everything of his waking state. But as soon as he awakens from slumber, he remembers that all he has to do, all that he has to do, and thus engages himself in the prescribed activities. The living being also remain merged in the body of Mahavishnu during the period of annihilation. But as soon as there is another creation, they arise to take up their unfinished work. Oh God. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhutva praliyate. So the Lord existed before the creative energy was set in action. The Lord is not a product of the material energy. His body is completely spiritual, and there is no difference between his body and himself. Before creation, the Lord remained in his abode, which is absolute and one. So that's about today's reading. We'll hold here. Just a highlight from this verse is so wonderfully the ladies are glorifying with their shyness, and then some of them are in tears. Everyone is just reposing their affection, and in their great affection they're saying the poetry. They say, oh, here he is, the original personality, as we definitely remember him. He was the only one existed before the creation of this universe, or even creation of the modes of nature, which we're all fully living within it, controlled and tossed and moved by these modes. And in him only, because he's the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy is suspended. So again, he is our repose when the creation closes up. And Prabhupada is very nicely telling, we are just continuing the same business, how we are going, like you get up and go. Similarly, like after the birth and after many births, and sometimes universe also gets done, then we get suspended for a really long time again, and again when the new universe come, we do the same business again. It's interesting. So
it's such a waste of time, right, Prabhu, being in this material world and not knowing. Even after knowing this also, how hard is it to get out of those modes, and even coming to the mode of goodness, coming to regulation. Like it's it's not easy. It's not so much of effort is needed. Still, it's not easy. Even like what to speak of other things.
Duratyaya.
Modes.
Daivihashi
It's
gunamayi
so hard
mama
to
duratyaya. Hmm.
the only hope is the blessings of teachers and Bhagavatam,
Yeah.
like getting blessings from Srimad Bhagavatam somehow or other. Like the first verse which we read today, the slightest slice,
Hmm.
like we'll be mad after. Forget about mad. At least coming to the point of
Slightest thing can bring us
coming
to
out
mad.
of
Hmm.
yeah, like getting out of this, the influence of modes, that itself is big blessings. Then we can think about attraction for Krishna.
It is so nice and important now to read Bhagavatam, to associate to hear from Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lalita Mataji, what is your favorite from today? I will go, after that you can go, okay? So I was also stuck by the last thing I read, like, we are continuing the same old business. It's interesting to know day after day, birth after birth, universe after universe. So let me, like, at least I would like to pray and desire to engage in the auspicious activity of connecting to Krishna and his devotees, Guru and Krishna. Cultivate little bit rati for them, love, as even a mustard seed in my day after day and birth after birth pursuits. At least I pray to set that in motion. That gets set in motion. That's what my thoughts. Okay. Lalita Mataji, in a position to say anything? Or
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah.
Yes. The transcendental world, there is no distinction between black and white. Like,
That stuck to you, huh?
yeah, yes.
Mm. There is no duality there.
Yes. Mm.
Here we have good and bad, right and wrong, day and night, like that, right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
In the spiritual world, there is no, black and white like that. Of course, there is black and white, but the conception is not there. Both have same value.
Yes.
Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, he says, there is no failure in our devotional life.
Yes.
Can you believe it, Mataji? He says there's no failure. Even if you don't finish this lifetime, he says, you'll start from where you left off in the next time.
Yes.
There's no failure at all. It's always increasing. It's always growing. But here in this world, we have pass and fail. So, yeah. Nice. So this kind of reading is helpful to you, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Goes little bit slowly and softly, gently, one by one. Like that, is it helping you bring more, helping you get more rati to Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, that's good. So we'll go like this. We'll get set. A little bit slow, but that's fine. Okay, Hare Krishna. We'll see you all tomorrow. Continuing the prayers of the ladies. Let's see what else they will say. They're just keeping Krishna. They're just putting the things on the face. I think that's another reason. They are more sweeter. They're just glorifying. Prabhupada also tells, right? Vedic hymns are sometimes indirectly directed to the Lord, but the ladies talks for directly. They're just putting the Krishna there and saying he's the Lord, he's the before the creation. So let's see what they're going to say more tomorrow.